Multimillionaire Dentist Part 2. Hey, I'm outside again. You know, it's been either blindingly bright or raining the last couple weeks here. This is May in Denver, which is kind of a mixed month for weather. And finally, it's nice out this afternoon. So I'm out in the hood again. Let's talk about the Multimillionaire Dentist Part 2 here. I'd like to bring up an author that I'd neglected before. His name is Wes Moss. He wrote a book called You Can Retire Sooner Than You Think. Dr. Wayne Kerr brought this up to me recently and I totally missed it. It's a great book. Wayne Kerr is a speaker, consultant, and blogger extraordinaire at all of that. If you haven't heard him speak, he is an amazing guy, has a lot of energy, and comes up with fabulous content. I was invited to speak with Wayne at Chicago Midwinter on transitions this year. Hopefully we'll be able to do it again. He's just a ball to deal with. Okay, let's get down to it here with Wes's book. Wes Moss, Retire Sooner Than You Think. Wes splits things up very easily into two groups to start out with: unhappy retirees and happy retirees. Well, first of all, he talks about some of the characteristics of happy and unhappy. Happy retirees eat steak. Unhappy eat fast food. Well, I like both. As far as where they shop, and this goes hand in hand with Millionaire Next Door, happy retirees frequent Macy's and Kohl's and Nordstrom. Unhappy frequent Nordstrom too, but Saks and Neiman Marcus, which are way expensive but have obviously really cool stuff. Happy retirees are interested in all sports and do a lot of volunteering. Unhappy concentrate on hunting and reading. That's weird, but okay. Main thing that we'll talk about later here is happy retirees have 3 or more core pursuits. Interests in retirement, things that they're actively involved in. Unhappy have only 1 or 2. Happy retirees spend 2.5 weeks per year on vacation. Unhappy, 1.5 weeks. That makes sense. Happy retirees don't need to be treated like a VIP. This was Dr. Guile. He had to have the best of everything. They don't need to be the most important person around. Happy retirees, what cars do they drive? Lexus, Nissan, Genesis, that's a big new one which is competing with Lexus, Hyundai, Subaru, Buick, and Mercedes. Unhappy retirees, BMW. Sometimes Mercedes, the more expensive ones, Chrysler, Dodge, and Mercury. Happy retirees either have their mortgage paid off or have the end in sight within a few years. Unhappy retirees, there's no mortgage end in sight. Moss next talks about actions to retire early. Okay, and I've talked about these before, but this comes from another source. Keep your mortgage to 10 to 15% of your monthly gross income. 10 to 15%. Yeah, the banks will loan you up to, I think it's 28% now, but those that keep it at 10 to 15% do a lot better. Say you're a dentist in private practice, you're earning $20,000 a month, that's $240 a year. What should your mortgage be? $2,000 to $3,000 a month. And you know there's a lot of people that have one that's much higher. Be careful. Also, it's wise to pay your mortgage off early, before you retire. By 55 is ideal, but to have it paid off before retirement makes you a lot happier. One thing that Moss brings up that I've seen a few times for dentists is to live on one income. 1 of 2 incomes for a family. I know several couples that have done this where they live on the doctor's salary and the spouse, which may be a man or a woman, that all goes to savings. That works out great. Normally they retire by their early 50s. Think about it. Also, a key is to save 20% per year. This is what my wife and I did, and that's how I was easily able to retire at 53. In today's financial climate, that may not have been quite so easy, but still saving 20% per year continually makes a huge difference. Another important thing is to figure out what your income needs are going to be in retirement. For dentists, on average, it's about 60% of the income you had pre-retirement to live at the same standard of living. Why? Because you're not usually paying off a mortgage and you don't have high taxes. So there's a big difference. It's not set at 80 or 90% or 100%. Often it's quite a bit lower. Make sure you have a competent financial advisor to help you figure this out. Also, I have forms, and there's one video that goes over how you can figure out what your income needs will be in retirement. Big mistake that Moss points out is moving to a new location, and especially taking on a new mortgage right at the beginning of retirement. So many doctors decide, you know, we got this 4,000 or 5,000 square foot home. What in the heck are we doing with it? The kids are all out, they're doing fine. We do not need this. We're about to retire. We need to downsize. So what do? They move into a 2,500 square foot home in a country club, which costs more than the home they had before, and they've got a brand new 30-year mortgage. Big mistake. If you want to move, move, but don't take on a higher mortgage than you already have. As far as mortgages, Wes has another idea that makes a lot of sense to me. He calls it the 1/3 rule. If at any time along your course of working, hi! How you guys doing?
Good.
Fine. I'm doing a recording here, but you got a way cool hat. Let's show that for a minute. Can we see that hat? That is cool. All right, you guys have a good one. Okay, the 1/3 rule. Wes says that at any time before retirement, you can pay off your home using 1/3 or less of your after-tax retirement savings. That's not in retirement funds. You don't want to take them out because then you'll have to pay taxes on them. But after-tax funds, if at any time you can take out a sum that's less than 1/3 of that total and pay off your mortgage, it doesn't matter what your age is, do it. That makes a huge difference. Well, what's the big deal about paying off a mortgage? It's about relief. You don't know it until you're there. It's a relief. It's a huge relief that you don't have that payment anymore. All of a sudden you've freed up a big amount of money to enjoy. Think about it. Another thing I'd like to talk about a little bit here is Social Security and what's coming along. So many people say, well, we can't count on that. Well, that's a fairly large sum. For dentists at full retirement age, the amount that you get right now is about $34,000 a year, because most of us max out on our savings. So that's $34,000 a year at age 66 or 67. Your spouse is going to get half of that. So that's $50,000 a year at full retirement. Can even be higher than that if you wait until age 70. People say, well, I'm not even going to consider that because it won't be there. Well, let's look back historically to 1981. Congress at that time found out that in March of 1983, less than 2 years later, Social Security would be completely out of benefits. 2 years notice. Why'd that happen? It was called inflation. Benefits were going up and up and up much quicker than they ever thought they would be. So that totally freaked them out. So what happened? Well, Congress, in their infinite wisdom, actually passed a bill in April 1983, a month later than they ran out of money, and it actually worked until 2033, which is 50 years. That's pretty darn good. What did they do? Well, they changed the employment tax, or the FICA tax back then, from 6.7 to 7.0% for employers and employees. Not a huge change. Also, they kicked up the full retirement age from 65 to either 66 or 67. Again, that was way far off because anybody over age 50 was automatically grandfathered into that age 65 retirement. Well, what might that mean? Well, first of all, I don't think Congress is going to act on anything until 2033. And when they do, they're going to grandfather in probably anybody over age 35 today into the 66 or 67. And yes, they will kick up the employee tax again, higher than it was. And it's gone up bit by bit over the years anyway. So there will be some minor changes, and they hopefully will take care of us until 2083 or so. So if there's anything that I think is going to be constant and permanent in our lives, I think it will be Social Security. Medicare, Medicaid, who knows? Okay. Next, How do you minimize risk in retirement? Wes talks about this, I talk about it. One thing to use, and Wes likes this, I love it, are target date funds. These are groups of index funds or ETFs that are invested internationally, nationally in US stocks and bonds. They follow them and track them for you. They also rebalance them periodically, automatically for you. The expense ratios are like 0.15 to 0.20, which is very low, and you actually do nothing. You just pour money into them and they grow. The academic evidence is they're going to grow as faster, quicker, as faster than any other type of investment that you have. Any type of index fund investing has been shown statistically over and over again over the years to do better. How about annuities? Well, they're sold by insurance companies and most of them are crap. Wes says that, I say that. There is one type of annuity which actually is great. It's called a single premium immediate annuity, SPIA. They're sold by insurance companies, discount brokerages. Usually they're purchased near retirement where you give the company a large sum of money and they guarantee a payment for the rest of your life. These are cheap, there aren't hidden expenses. Insurance companies hate to sell them because they don't make much money on them, but they work well. Single premium immediate annuity. Hi guys!
Hi.
You don't have to be quiet. What is that thing?
To make it. He's been throwing it around since he brought it home.
You crushed it, huh? What's it called?
Saturn.
Where are the rings? Oh, you got the ring in your hand. Okay, cool. Okay, back to money. But for any investment strategy, please use a qualified investment professional if you're going to seek service. The magic initials are Certified Financial Planner, CFP. Those are the best. Make sure you're working with someone who has actually some learning experience and is taking courses in finance before you invest with anybody. White Coat Investor has great recommendations on his blog. White Coat Investor, he has recommendations for about 20 different financial planners that you can use to help you out. They have low fees. Actually, each of them has a paragraph or two written up as to what they specialize in, what type of doctors they like to work with. So that's something else to look at. That's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching.